Anagrams are parajumbles. I would say this is the easiest question in verbal aptitude segment. As the very name suggests, parajumbles, you will be given a question in jumbled or you will be given a question which carries sentences in jumbled format and you need to find a proper sequence. Be it anagrams or parajumbles. When we say anagrams, probably you can expect questions in two different categories. Either you may be given sentence anagrams or you might be given paragraph anagrams. If it is sentence anagram, parts of a sentence will be in a jumbled format. A sentence will be broken into 4 segments and you will be asked to find a proper sequence. If it's a paragraph anagram, sentences will be arranged in a jumbled form and you will be asked to identify the proper sequence. So whichever way, the logic is very much similar. You have to identify the proper sequence from the disarranged logic. Well, parajumbles, when we say this has, you can expect questions on parajumbles in 2 different formats. One format will carry like this S1, S6 followed by P, Q or S, which means the first and the last sentence will be in the appropriate position. In between sentence, that is second, third, fourth, fifth sentence positions would be in the jumble form and you need to find the proper sequence. This is one format. There is another format where there won't be S1, S6. Simply you will be given 4 different sentences and you will be asked to find a proper sequence. This is very much simple and I assure you, you would love solving these questions. Let's go to the strategies. First, let's have a look at this question and then I'd like to introduce you to the strategy. Look at this question. This is a parajumble. We have the first sentence and the last sentence in its appropriate position. In between sentences are in the jumble format. If you are on this question, step 1 is to read the S1 and S6. First read them. Try to find any clues. Step 1 is to search for a clue. This clue could be a noun or it could be the sentence structure. I will give you all these details while we proceed these sentences because this is something which anyone can pick it. First step is to search for a clue. Let's try it. Why are horses the same? S1 begins with a question. What will be the second sentence? The second sentence must provide an answer for this question, right? Now, step 2 is to pick clues from answer choices. What do I mean by pick clues from answer choices? Let's say, please focus on the first segment of each answer choice. As you focus on the first segment of each answer choice, you can understand 2 choices begin with yes and 2 choices begin with R. So what does it mean? For S1, the following sentence should begin with yes or should begin with R. Let's check it immediately. It won't take much time. Yes says you probably don't think they are at all. Why are horses the same? Yes says you probably don't think they are at all. So yes provides an answer. So most probably yes could be the logic. Let's check it with R. But there is something all horses have in common. We are very sure segment R doesn't provide answer for the question. So within 2 seconds, you can eliminate 2 options. You are left with A and D. The moment you understand yes should be the second sentence, what you need to do is look for the third, fourth, fifth positions. Here, yes, R. So third position also common in A and D. You probably don't think they are at all, but there is something all horses have in common. Fine. What you need to check is, should P follow R or should Q follow R? Let's check it. Q says a particular horse flows naturally and P says it may be old and lame and in time it will die. Now please note the next important clue for the entire anagram question. Step 3. Pronoun should always follow a noun. You cannot have a pronoun preceding it. First a noun, next pronoun. Here Q says a particular horse. P says it. So it should be the second sentence after a particular horse. If we ask what does this word it represents, we can very well say a particular horse. From this we can understand answer is SRQP. Being this is the very first question, we are taking this much time. The following questions we can easily solve it. Just observe the logic. You're going to apply the logic in the following questions. Look at this question. The first sentence says there is no doubt the rules governing imports, manufacture and the use of pesticides need to be further tightened up. So the meaning of the first sentence emphasizes the use of pesticides need to be tightened up. What could be the next sentence? It can't be but a more practical and feasible approach. You can eliminate answer choice beginning with P. Check it with Q because you have two options beginning with that. Let's go to a bit later. No one can deny the importance of pesticides in our agriculture. And R says the proposed amendment is an attempt at doing this. This is a pronoun and this could easily refer to the use of pesticides or the need to be tightened up. Therefore, R makes sense, which means this option can be eliminated. The moment you understand R occupies the second position, you ask yourself whether P should follow R or Q should follow R. Read through it. The proposed amendment is an attempt at doing this, but in the process it seems to have gone overboard in most cases. And P says, but a more practical and feasible approach is likely to tackle this problem. Which problem? Probably the problem of restricting the use of pesticides. Makes sense. So RP makes sense. Thereby answer is option A. If you want to check it with Q, no one can deny the importance of pesticides in our agriculture. May not be the logical sequence of R. Eliminated. Answer is option A. For this question, straight away I like to discuss the logic. You have all the four segments occupying the second position, right? You check it. S1 is very much simpler for you to understand. It talks about a name of a dinner, sir. Thereby, the second sentence must be its description. Yes could be the correct one. It was about 40 feet in length. This it refers to iguanodon, right? Okay. So answer is B. If you have slight doubt or if you have any difficulty in getting the answer, I'll give you one more clue for the same question. R says it had numerous teeth in the sides of the jaws arranged in rows. P says these teeth formed a dental battery. If you give a quick glance, we can be very sure R and P should be are inseparable. Irrespective of its positions, wherever you have RP, just check among the four options. How many options have RP combination? We have only two options. Already we eliminated A and thereby we are very sure answer is B. What I want to tell you through this question is picking clues is not restricted to S1, is not restricted to S6, is not restricted to options alone. As you practice more and more questions like this, you would easily associate your ideas and you would pick clues for yourself. That's a promise I assure you for this sort of question, for this question type. This is really challenging. Let's try. S1 says one of the many young scientists who chose to throw in their lot with Rutherford was an Oxford physical chemist, Frederick Soddy. What could be the next sentence? Trying to figure from the options, you have Q in 3 answer choices and P in 1 choice. P says his association with Rutherford. Now the first sentence gives an introduction to Frederick Soddy, so we are very sure P cannot be the option, which means Q should be the next segment. He was just 23. Who was just 23? Frederick Soddy. Now Q is the second sentence. We understood. But we have 3 choices. If you read through QP and QS, it may take time. Let me give you another clue or try to make your logic sharper. Last one says we now know that gamma rays are a particular fierce form of X-rays, which means fifth sentence should have a reference to gamma, right? Let's find out. Remaining options you have S, R, P. P says his association with Rutherford lasted only 2 years, but that was long enough to change the whole face of physics. Doesn't give a direct reference to gamma. Therefore, option D can be eliminated. Should be either R or it should be either yes. Yes says when he teamed up with Rutherford, they investigated thorium as Marie Curie had shown was radioactive. So this also doesn't have a direct reference to gamma, which means answer is option B. And as you read through it, you would find yes, segment R has a direct reference to gamma rays. So what I'm telling you, what I'm introducing you to is different ways of analyzing the answers and getting it ready, and you would find that you are getting answers within no time. Well, now I believe that you are learning the tricks. You can apply it on the following questions and make it much faster and interesting. Step 1 is to search for clues in S1 and S6. Step 2 is to try to derive any clues from the options. And step 3 is to remember that pronoun should always follow a noun. Well, let me try. For this question, instead of S1, I like to begin with S6 here. This was against his religion. Now this is very strong. So try to find out which could be against his religion. What should you remember? We have taken a clue from S6. So focus on the final segments. You have R in 2 answer choices, Q in 1 choice, S in 1 more choice, right? Let's check it. R says since we have 2 options beginning with R, let's begin with R first. It was difficult for him to leave India and go to a foreign land where he would have to eat and dine with foreigners. Probably this could be against religion. To dine with foreigners could be against his religious principles. R makes sense. Let's reserve B and D. Look at Q. Studies did not interest him and he did not do well. Is this idea against anyone's religion? Cannot be. A can be eliminated. Look at yes. This would not be easy. Can we say this is against religion? Doesn't make sense. You can easily eliminate A and C. Now, what you need to do? We are very sure that R is the 5th position. Try to find the 4th segment. Find out whether P should be the 4th sentence or S should be the 4th sentence. P says, soon after this, he was advised to go to England to study to be a lawyer. It was difficult for him to leave India. Makes sense because he was advised to go to England and it was difficult for him to leave India. So, P makes sense. Keep it. Yes, this would not be easy. It was difficult for him to leave India. No, doesn't make sense. Answer is option B. For this question, I would advise you to pause the video. Take your time. Let it be 1 minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Try to recall these steps. Step 1 is to find clues from S1 or S6. Step 2 is to look it from the answer choices. Step 3 is to have it in your mind that pronoun should always follow a noun. With these steps in your mind, try to approach the answer. This question appears to be challenging, but I would say if you could apply the logic in which you are taught, it could be solved in maximum 5 seconds. You can pause the video and try it out for yourself. Well, you would have tried, and I believe you must have been confused because S1 says universities are peculiar institutions, and perhaps you would be struggling to find the next sequence. Hold on for a while. The very reason why you have anagram question in competitive examination is to check your analytical ability. This is a wonderful question type to test how analytical your mind is. How able are you in analyzing a given problem. All along, I introduced you to pick clues from the sentences and you will be trying to pick clues from the S1 itself. Why not? Let's try to pick clues from S6. That is, when you have confusion in going through S1 and answer choices, let's try to find any clues. Now, I said pronoun should always follow a noun. S6 says it is the most important institution, which means the 5th sentence must be singular because here it is the most important institution. Thereby, look at the final segments. Luckily, you have R in 3 options and Q in 1 option. Check out whether R could make sense or Q could make sense. R says they have common historical roots yet are deeply embedded in the societies. They, societies, the next sentence cannot be it. Thereby, we can eliminate all the options. which means D option must be right. Let's check it. Last segment is Q. Q, the contemporary university. This is singular and S6 begins with it. Very well, it makes sense. Answer is D. As I promised, this wouldn't have taken more than 10 seconds. Hope you're finding it interesting. That's how you would apply the logic. As you proceed, as you practice few more questions, you can derive logic by yourself. That is the beauty of anagram questions. Next question. I repeat the steps once again. Step 1 is to look for clues in the sentences when you have S1 and S6. Step 2 is to pick clues from the options. Let's do it step by step. Step 1. History shows that the growth of civilization depends upon the gifts of nature, particularly the wealth yielded by the soil. What could be the next sentence? Here the first sentence talks about the growth of civilization. Let's browse through these 4 segments, and prior to that, let's check the first segments of each answer choices. We have R, we have Q, we have S, we have P, which means you have all the 4 segments occupying the first position in the answer choices, which means you may think that you are clueless. No, it appears so. Try to get it from the segments. Remember the third important step I said, pronoun should always follow a noun. Thereby, let's check whether each segment carries a noun or a pronoun. P says the most land they had, the more they were satisfied. So, they is a pronoun. Here, S1, there isn't any noun which suggests they. Thereby, we can eliminate option D. Next, Q. The nature and the quality of the land they possessed were of great importance to them. Once again, we don't have a noun in the preceding sentence. Thereby, Q can also be eliminated. Segment R. All ancient communities worked hard to produce food. This is the first sentence and this could be the second sentence. All ancient communities. Probably the pronouns they could be referring to ancient communities. Thereby, R makes sense. Probably A could be the answer. Let's reserve for a while. Let's check with yes. There was also a great desire among them. So, except R, you have pronoun in all the 3 segments, which makes us to conclude option A is the right choice. To ensure whether your answer is right, you can read through the sequence R, Q, S, P and you would definitely find the entire sequence makes complete sense.